Ugh. Wow.
Wow, what? Oh no, are you gonna fall asleep?
I'm tired,
Oh no.
to say the least.
Summer's hitting a little too hard.
Summer's hitting real hard.
We're both sun-kissed and glistening.
I look paler than ever.
No, you don't.
Agree to disagree. Much like we'll be doing on this episode of S. Soup! For a second there, it was like, am I going to throw up? Am I going to finish the same?
Are you going to throw up?
No.
All right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I am Spencer.
No, I'm Shelby.
Together, we're here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions like, waiter, how is the soup made?
We
Shelby.
just want to know. Sorry. From the top.
Shelby, how are you?
I'm great. It is full on summertime, which it kind of has been for a while. But now I feel like we finally get to enjoy it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It has been full summer mode.
Oh, yeah.
Any chance we get. I mean, Spencer, describe the perfect summer day.
Okay, hang on. All right. Wake up.
Yep.
7 a.m.
Sure.
Get out of bed. You know, if this is ideal, 7 a.m.
Sure.
Realistic, 7:45.
Sure.
Go downstairs, make a little coffee, do a little dog walking, probably on the couch by like 8:30, and then just like 13 hours straight of video games.
Oh, wow. That's your perfect summer day?
And then go to bed. That's my perfect day.
That's not what we've been doing.
Oh. That's all right.
Okay.
These days just haven't been perfect.
Wow, okay. No, but they've been perfect. Lay by the pool.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Get out to the pool.
Incredible food.
Get out to the pool around midday. Really only be out in the sun. Bake yourself a little bit for like 2-3 hours.
Yep.
Get back inside. Be real snacky.
Mm-hmm.
And then just vibe on the couch.
Literally.
Just relax. Just throw your legs up. Chill.
It's the best.
And you can take that recipe and it's like a slider in a character creator.
Mm-hmm.
You can do less pool time and more couch time, or you can do more pool time, less couch time. You can slide it however you want.
Yes, definitely.
And it still ends up being, a fairly ideal day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say, my eyes are real heavy.
Yeah,
right
I can
now,
tell.
I'm sitting with my eyes closed. It feels real good.
That's good. How are you, Spencer?
I'm sitting with my eyes closed and it feels real good.
That's good.
Eyes are heavy. Holy shit.
I can tell. You're going to fall asleep during this.
Oh, man. I'm not going to fall asleep, but let me just go on real quick. Ugh. I'm not going to fall asleep, but I need my eyes to be open for this one, unfortunately.
Are there
all episodes.
Are there many episodes that you can do eyes closed?
I would say a majority.
Should we just start doing that? Just sitting here with the eyes closed?
Maybe.
Talking?
I mean, trade off. So
I mean, at that point, should we just go no video?
We can do that. Is that what you want to do?
No. I feel like your low energy is making me tired. So anyway.
That's ridiculous.
Why is that ridiculous?
So you're saying that all the times that I have low energy, it's because of your stupid ass low energy?
Yep. But yeah, life's been good. Been in full summer mode, which means full relaxation mode. Garden is blowing up. It's been great.
Garden's been real good, yeah.
I've been slowly compiling a rough count on, like, I'll say garden production that I think will be fun to kind of do a summary of probably in like a month or two, depending on when the garden decides it's kind of done for the year. Yeah, I'm excited. I literally just like have been loving making and then eating food, as dumb as that is. That has become a favorite activity over the past few weeks. So anyway, to get into today's episode.
Okay. But I want to say something.
Okay, please.
No, yeah, the garden's been great.
It has been.
I've been able to pull some stuff and use it. I mean, we've been using like the lettuce and kale and stuff like that from it all year.
Yeah.
Well, not all year, but
for a few months now.
But now, like, the tomatoes are coming in, cucumbers. We've been getting to do some stuff with that, and yeah, it's all been good. It's all been good. It all tastes really good.
The next thing we know, we're gonna have too many serrano peppers. Not as many as last year, but probably too many.
Too many. And were those from seeds from last year?
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm getting into, I think, whether that's part of the, it'll probably be a part of
So what are we talking about today?
We are talking about, we're each going to provide some hot takes. Are you okay?
Yeah, I was laughing because I can't believe that you actually just moved on.
Sure. I don't really care.
I don't really care. It's whatever.
We're going to be I found some Reddit threads that supply some hot takes about some of our favorite activities. Unless you found another thread, you will be reading hot takes on reading and books.
Yeah, I didn't find any other.
And I will be reading hot takes on video games, and the other will be responding. The threads I roughly found all are like 2 to 5 years old. So I like that they're not like crazy current in terms of like if something dramatic happened in each of the industries we like, that it's not solely focused on that.
Yeah.
Not to say there wouldn't be anything worth talking about, but just some probably general opinions about the other's activity. And I thought maybe it'd be interesting.
And we had to drill down on yours to just reading.
Yeah. I tried looking for some options, but
because you have a trillion hobbies. Me, boring. Plain. Spencer, one hobby. You, Shelby, annoying, obnoxious, multiple hobbies.
That's exactly how I describe the two of us. Well, it's just like, I would say over my lifespan, reading is my most continuous hobby and probably the one I know the most about. Certain hobbies I know very little about.
I'm so bored. I'm yawning.
And I don't think I could comment. / I don't think enough people have opinions on them to like say anything.
They're just like dumb.
Yeah. Who even does them?
Hobbies
exactly.
About.
Exactly.
Like reading and gaming are both like media intake.
Yes.
So of course people are gonna have dog shit opinions about it.
Or good opinions.
Very, very good hot takes, like this one about reading.
Okay.
Being able, because this equates to outside of reading too, in my opinion. Being able to predict the ending doesn't make a mystery book automatically bad. If the characters, setting, tone, etc. are all interesting and well written, then knowing what happens shouldn't make or break the book.
I agree. I am someone who wants to predict the ending. Mystery or not, within like 2 to 3 chapters of a book, I normally look at you and I go, I think this is what's going to happen. And I probably
I look back at you and I go, I don't care.
Exactly. And I probably have like, I don't know, like a 70% success rate in guessing. 60 to 70%, probably.
25.
25% success rate? You don't even know. No. So as someone who enjoys guessing the endings, it wouldn't be fair for me to then judge the book based on if I got the ending right.
But I think
I understand mystery falls into a slightly different category.
No, I don't think it does, because I think there are so many people who, I think there's technically layers to this.
Sure.
If you out the jump go after one chapter are like, this is so obviously what's about to happen, and then bar for bar you're right, maybe that isn't a good book.
Right.
Maybe that isn't a good movie.
Right.
Maybe that isn't a good TV show. Right.
Like
these are all things
like
that
you watch Argyle
that you continuously predict
and
against.
you're like, oh no.
But if you are the type of person who goes, I think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then 2 pages in you go, I think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then 3 pages in you go, this is what's going to happen. And then by the time you're 75% of the way through the book, and the author has done a good enough job of dropping the clues and like providing the breadcrumbs that could lead you to the conclusion of what is going to happen.
Yep.
And you nail it at that point and then stick to your guns after 75% of the way through the book.
Yep.
And then have the audacity after spending 75% of the book throwing every single wild prediction and constantly changing your mind until you did end up technically getting it right, to then have the audacity to be like, yeah, it's a shit book, or it's a shit story, it's a shit TV show, it's a shit movie.
Sure.
Fuck you.
Sure.
To me, it sounds like it was perfectly done.
Right. Because it led you along the whole time.
It constantly had you tripping up and thinking like, oh no, wait, I think this is what's happening. And honestly, by the time you're 80% of the way through, yeah, you're probably clued in at that point.
Right.
Like that's when it's supposed to become obvious.
Right.
The percent rate of people like saying like, hey, how far into this did you realize what was happening?
Right.
And once you're 80% of the way through the book, that success rate of like, this is when I knew, should be like 99%.
Yeah.
Like there are still going to be a few people who don't.
Right.
But like, that's probably the threshold of like, yeah, this is when most people are going to get it.
I think also you have to take into account, like if mystery is all you read, or it's most of what you read, you're gonna pick up on the patterns a lot
100%.
faster. Like it's like once you really put yourself in a genre, like you're gonna know that genre so well that it's hard to trip you up. For whatever, like, you know, you're gonna fly through fantasy faster than non-fantasy readers because you like read those words, you get into a world a lot easier. You're gonna put together mysteries a lot faster. / like something that maybe wasn't obvious to you the first mystery you read is now so obvious to you 20 mysteries later.
You have an understanding of like the tropes of how like magical worlds work.
Yes.
Like, right? Like,
yeah.
So all these things become second nature to you, so it all becomes much more predictable.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't think being able to predict it speaks really in any way to the end. I shouldn't say anyway. It doesn't most of the time speak to the quality of the book.
Right.
Should I go for you?
Go for it.
All right. The button in, I don't know if you'll have a strong feeling on this, but the button inputs of Super Smash Bros. Being, they're saying the direction, whatever that's called, button, are better than the more complex inputs of traditional fighting games, which are mostly just gatekeepy wankery and an artifact of the arcade era.
Counter hot take.
Okay.
Don't play fighting games.
Whoa!
Don't play fighting games because they're lame.
Why are they lame?
They're stupid.
Why are they stupid?
Because it's just who cares?
Sure.
Who cares? This person's probably right. I don't fully know what they mean, but I agree. I think fighting games are wankery. Because it is all about knowing the right button inputs. So every time I load into a fighting game, which is few and far between, every fucking time I do it, I pull it up, right? And I go, okay, which is the hottest female character?
Right.
That's who I want to beat up.
Who's going to lose their clothes during the fight?
Please.
Sorry.
Now make me the buffest dude possible because I want to self-insert and load in, and they do their little like, oh, I can't believe it's you. And then it's like, oh, don't fight me. And then immediately you go pause, move list. And then you sit there for 5 minutes going, well, this is the only combination that I'm going to be able to remember. So I'm just going to spam this over and over again.
That's how I play. That's not how I play fighting games.
Lame.
You overcomplicated how I play fighting games. Yeah.
But to the competitive sphere, good on you. If you get into fighting games and you are like good enough to like compete and like or like care about them to that level, great. But honestly, if you have an opinion like that about fighting games, I think it's just like much easier to just be like,
They're not for
don't
me.
play fighting games.
Yeah.
Like it's that easy. There
Yeah.
are much better experiences out there. And you can't like
Don't get stuck in a genre.
you just can't convince me that like that's the only game that appeals to you.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe,
really.
but like
I guess like does a fighting
branching
game hold a similar appeal to people who like exclusively play like Call of Duty, those types of games?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, maybe.
is it the
It's a genre.
interactive? Like
It's
I know they're different,
it's
but
a
is
genre,
it the
right?
is
So,
it
like-
the like constant competition of it
maybe.
that is the appeal, you think?
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's at the end of the day, I think it's just a niche enough genre that you can like say like I like this style of game.
Sure.
I don't think it has as robust of a gameplay cycle as a Call of Duty or
Yeah.
any of those. In my opinion, fighting games are kind of like the worst games.
Okay.
And I say that as somebody who plays like sports simulation games.
Right.
And I think those are probably like second up.
Yeah.
Ton of replayability technically, but like holy fuck, like it's nothing.
Right.
Like it's kind of just slop at the end of the day.
It's also like I imagine, which I think there's definitely not as someone who's played really any fighting games. I've secondhand played like a few that you've played during like platinum stuff, but unless you play other people, like real other people, whether online or friends or whatever, I imagine you do just get really good like pretty quickly, and then like what do you do? Like and then what? Like you just do
Yeah.
the same shit over and over again. Which I'm not saying there's not a like comfort and like kind of ease to that and just like doing something if you're like I just want to like turn my brain off and like do something.
100%.
Like I get that, but I'm like when you say they sort of have like replayability, it's like I feel like that would kind of come into question like pretty quickly. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Not that I really know anything about them. Do you want? I have another one. But
I
only,
also have another one.
okay. Do you want to go ahead?
I thought we were going to go back and forth.
Yeah, you go.
Let me just open my eyes again.
Yeah.
That's for people who aren't
Really,
watching.
really massage them.
This is a pretty cheap one. So I can find another one pretty quickly, but
That's fine.
because I don't think this is a hot take.
Okay.
Not every book needs a happy ending. Sometimes it's more likely that they aren't happy, even if they accomplish the thing that they set out to do. I'm tired of impactful deaths being retconned so everyone can be happy at the end.
Yep. I agree.
Not really a hot take.
Not really a hot take. I feel this way about all media, period, because, and I'm not going to say I didn't used to be one of these people. I think growing up, I used to be one of those people where, like, of course I wanted everything to be a happy ending. I wanted to feel good after I was done. I wanted everything to have a good conclusion. And there are still plenty of times where I watch a show and it wasn't a happy ending and you're kind of left with like, what does this mean? But even if I get annoyed, I'm not annoyed at the writing. Like I
Right.
enjoy it. I'm frustrated because they want you to be frustrated. And I love that. Like now I live for that. I live for like complicated stories. I live for like quite often when you're like are supposed to hate the main character. Like I kind of live for that now.
Mhm.
I think because I've like read so many like cut and
So
repeat.
you're a big fan of Breaking Bad.
Big fan of Breaking Bad. No, but like now I kind of like not in any way, but I kind of laugh now when someone's like, "Oh my god, I just hate this character," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're supposed to."
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, but like I don't like the book because of this," and I'm
Yeah.
like, if that's not what you were in the mood for,
Or-
that's fine. But like that's like you're getting the point. But like
Or sometimes like the even more recent thing of like you are supposed to like a character, but you're
Yes.
supposed to feel bad about liking the character.
Yes. Or you're supposed to, you can really like them and still acknowledge they're
And
doing
realize
wrong
they're a
things.
piece of shit.
Yeah.
Or like, and so like Wolf of Wall Street is normally
Yeah.
like the big one, where it's just like, no, Leonardo DiCaprio's character is super likable.
Right.
That's kind of the problem.
Right.
Like, but if you like, so people will walk away and be like, yeah, you watch that movie, you're supposed to hate him. No, you're not. You're supposed to recognize that he's a terrible person,
Right.
but you are absolutely supposed to like him.
Right.
He's super charismatic.
Yep.
It's like the whole serial killer thing,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like serial killers somehow just have like
This
a maxed out
charisma
trait.
Yeah.
They just are constantly
They do a
rolling
nat
D20s.
20.
Yeah, nat 20s every time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, but they're like, oh, but I'm supposed to hate them. Like, no, like, yeah,
You are.
but you won't.
They're
because
likable,
They're likable.
unfortunately, yeah.
And that's
If
kind of
they're
how they got away with everything.
right
I don't
type
get
of
how they got away
person.
with it.
Yeah.
They're clearly evil. And it's just like, well, you weren't at the park talking to them.
Right, right. I actually think a kind of a more gray area example of this is Ellie from The Last of Us, because I
Oh, we're
feel
mixing.
yeah, well, video game and TV, depending on how you
I'm saying
partook in the
because
story.
I told you a book hot take and you brought up a video game.
True.
Nothing to do with the show.
I'm just saying it in terms of like how people might understand is that like I think in the first season you really do grow to love Ellie because she's this like relatively young, like needs assistance but is still a badass. And then the second season,
And she's like difficult, but like in a funny way because
Yes.
Joel isn't her dad.
right?
And so like you can laugh it off and be
Yeah.
like, ha ha ha.
Exactly. But in the second season, I mean, she has to act like an adult, even though she's 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, in that type of universe, everyone's
She's
an
going
adult
through-
at an
She's going
age.
through a rebellious teenager phase.
Yeah.
And everybody's just like, huh. Bold of her to do that
I know.
during a zombie apocalypse.
I know.
And it's just like,
and it's like,
bold of you to be Gen Z in a recession. Like, what? What does that even mean?
I know, like people are mad. Like again, she has to be an adult because of the situation she's put in, but she is still 18. Like she doesn't
It's just-
change
It's just
that.
hard to believe that somebody would act like that in a zombie apocalypse.
She's-
It's not hard to imagine a zombie apocalypse.
Right. Literally. Also,
I just can't imagine somebody would act that way.
Also, like she
sure.
now does see Joel as a father figure, so
Yeah.
she's going to act like a daughter of a father.
Yeah,
like
rebels
that's
out a little
yeah,
bit
like that's
more.
what you're gonna fucking act like. Like you're going to like also because yeah, she's in a zombie apocalypse, but they did find a sense of normalcy in the apocalypse because
Yeah.
that's what humans are gonna do. Like you're gonna find these same traits of growing up and going through all those bumps at any fucking moment. So yeah, I feel like, and then obviously if you have or have not seen season 2, it's obviously been out a while now, but like whatever, she goes on this whole like revenge spree, we'll just say that. Incredibly gray decisions being made, sometimes incredibly bad decisions being made.
Oh, terrible.
but like again, the first season made you love her. You still love her, but you're also like she's kind of. A lot of people were like she's annoying me. She's doing all this dumb stuff,
It's
and
just
it's
Westworld. These violent
Yeah.
delights have violent ends, you know?
Really, yeah.
Like,
but I think she's like a good excuse of like, again, I think we need to like kind of. I actually think we would heal a little bit as society if we. I'm not gonna say embraced morally gray, but took it and like thought about it a
Yeah.
little bit harder. Like,
oh, I think
not just accept it, but be like,
our ability to
huh.
like. I think our ability as a whole to interact with those types of stories has just like
completely like
gone.
eroded. Yeah.
And now it's just like main character is supposed to be the hero, is
Mhm.
supposed to be my friend. I'm
Mhm.
supposed to see myself in them.
They
And it's
have to
just
be
that.
hot.
And it's just like no, what?
I know.
That's not interesting.
Right.
That is literally what video games were for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And then they like finally started to inject like a little bit of like diversity and like change into like the formula.
Yeah.
And people like lost their fucking minds now. Like we were fine with it for a while.
Right.
And now we've like collectively lost our minds on it.
Right.
So I watched the like inward collapse of video games happen in such a tight window. And now also watching it bleed over into like movies, TV shows. We're doing the whole stupid movie club stuff.
Yeah.
And like
Stupid.
three different years, I think, have like
In like
touched
the 80s.
on transgender issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in like the 80s, 70s,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And like, you just know nobody batted an eye.
Yeah.
Everybody was just like, wow, what a crazy story. What
Right.
a crazy movie that I just watched.
Right.
Like, wow, sometimes people are different.
Yeah.
And like, you can sit there and be like, that's weird. I don't agree with that. And like, whatever. But I feel like everybody had, and I know this isn't true. I'm definitely romanticizing it. But like, people probably had a much more normal reaction than we fucking do now about this stuff.
Right.
And it's so goddamn annoying.
Well,
and
the
this
difference
is all
was
coming off of
you couldn't go to Twitter and complain about it.
Dude. Do
That's
you want to hear a hot take?
That's the difference. What?
I shouldn't.
Okay.
Imagine if Twitter and the current like media sphere existed in the 1940s. That's all.
No.
I'll say.
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Just imagine that.
Mm-mm. All right.
Wait, this was all off of not every story needs to have a
Happy ending. Correct.
Crazy. What tangent? I'm just equating a lot of these ones that I'm reading about books to like movies.
That's fine. It's media.
Like, yeah,
it's a lot. It's just stories.
No, it is. So like I'm reading some of these, and I'm just like, go off, queen.
All right, here you go, Spencer. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Dark Souls is only fun during boss fights. The boss fights are 11 out of 10 though. So they're basically saying the game outside of boss fights pointless. I know you've only played Demon Souls, correct?
And then we started Dark Souls.
Then we started Dark Souls. But I think you can at least somewhat speak to the...
Yeah. No, they are kind of right. The reward of beating a boss is
pretty high.
So high.
Yeah.
But there are games that provide boss rush.
Right.
So don't play Dark Souls.
Right.
Like Souls games are very clear about what they are. If that's not what you like, then there are other games that will give you
that
just
rush.
Boss fights.
Yeah.
But I get the point of what they're saying, but like fundamentally I would disagree.
Sure.
Because it's not pointless.
Right.
It's there to keep you from getting to the next boss.
Right.
To annoy you.
Right. Like it's trying to beat you down, really.
Yeah.
It's what the game's trying to do.
Because I think if you just went boss fight to boss fight and didn't encounter anything else,
yeah,
those wins would feel a lot less. They would still be rewarding. Don't get me wrong, because like you would still have to do all the same trial and error that you already have to do, but they would be a lot less rewarding, like 75% less rewarding. You'd still have the satisfaction finally watching the bar deplete.
Sure.
But you don't have the like 13 deaths on the way to here,
yeah.
let alone the 20 you had just against this one giant dude.
Right. I do have another game specific one if you want me to just rattle that off. It's a little bit more convoluted.
Is it a game that I've played?
No.
Well then, can
I
speak to it?
I think you will have a thought.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I have plenty of thoughts.
Fortnite is the worst thing to happen to gaming. Let me continue.
Yes. Oh.
Let me continue. This is what they're getting at. It made microtransactions seem more acceptable, and now everything costs money in video games. Also ruined Call of Duty by making them focus on battle royale games and not prioritizing 6v6. See, I think you will have some thoughts, even though you don't play Fortnite.
First off, I have played Fortnite.
Sorry, you have. You just don't.
No, this is a hot take that I personally also subscribe to.
Yeah.
I don't go down the same path that they do.
They were being very specific, but
yeah, I think the entire like games as a service is a cesspool right now. And there are certain games that do it well. Like Call of Duty at its core is still good. I hopefully believe that, or I want to believe that.
Sure.
But you can see that it's just becoming flawed. Like Beavis and Butthead just became playable characters in Call of Duty. Like that's not Call of Duty, that's Fortnite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
like,
is a little weird.
Like Seth Rogen got put in Call of Duty. That's not Call of Duty.
No.
That's Fortnite.
Yeah.
You're doing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still skinned as Call of Duty. You're still this like, we're the best war simulator.
Yeah.
But like not.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. And the microtransaction part is a really good point to key in on, because that has bled over into other games outside of just like your typical shooters. So yeah, no, I think Fortnite is pretty much like one of the worst things to happen to the game industry. And I think also like it's partially because they do it too well. Like they're too good at what they do.
Yeah.
They make it look too easy, so other people think that they can follow suit.
Yeah.
And nobody can.
Right.
Nobody can do. Not even Call of Duty. Nobody can do what Fortnite does.
Correct.
They have it down. They have people ensnared, and it's over.
Yeah.
There's no challenging.
Yeah.
You need it to just die. You need millions upon millions of people to collectively just decide one day, I'm good. I don't need to anymore. And that day will almost certainly never happen. And the cash cow will continue to be milked. And it's just ruined it. Just absolutely ruined the industry.
Yeah.
Because think about this. You now have companies, now have studios spending hundreds of millions of dollars to make these, like, for the most part, single player experiences.
Yeah.
Right? Because they want to make everything look as realistic as possible. Like,
Yeah.
it's just all become so bloated. But the player base to go to those games hasn't grown.
Right.
It's stayed relatively probably the same.
Right.
While, because you've hemorrhaged people to games like Fortnite, but then you've brought in new people because it's like gaming has been on the rise.
Right.
Technically, it's stagnated. Technically, it's probably on somewhat of a downward trend now, post-pandemic.
But as a whole.
It's only
grown.
exponentially grown.
Yeah.
But you've lost people to games like Fortnite, and you've only brought in so many new that you've probably stayed net even for the most part. Maybe you've like average, hopefully grown along with the industry.
Right.
So like if gaming grew by like 500%,
Right.
hopefully that means that you also grew your base by like 500%. But that may not be the case.
Right.
So they've poached from other things and everything like that, which is fine inherently, but also it's just meant that like it's just become a wasteland.
Yep.
It just sucks.
Yep. Yeah.
What do we think? One more each?
Sure.
All right. I hate that it's been normalized when talking about a book that you can expose basically the whole plot as long as you don't give away the twist or ending. Twist in air quotes.
Yeah.
Blurbs, reviews, recommendations, etc. are all guilty of this.
You can give up the whole plot.
I hate that it's been normalized when talking about a book that
Yeah.
you can expose basically the whole plot as long as you don't give away the twist or ending.
I do know what they're saying, and I actually just watched a video where someone was talking about this.
And do you disagree?
I like yes and no. On one hand, it whether you want to be mad about this or not, it's very rare that any more people are reading, watching, experiencing something without having been recommended it. Recommendation can be a friend, it can be an ad, it can be whatever. You are told to experience that thing because they think there's something in it that you'll like. Thus, you are told the basis of what is in it. And that does normally just mean not telling you the big twist or the big reason you're gonna want to experience. That's not all. Like that is stretching a little bit. That is stretching a little bit.
I think.
But like, what? So should books do book synopses need to be less clear? Like, is that like less descriptive?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. So we just watched Slow Horses.
Sure.
Describe Slow Horses.
God, I don't even know. British MI5 dejected agents experience like
Dejected.
dejected.
They're sad.
Oh yeah, they are kind of sad, honestly. Defected. That defected's the word I wanted.
Yeah.
That's the word they use.
Defective.
Defected agents
Defecated.
who are defecating everywhere. Dejected.
Rejected. Are you trying to say rejected?
I don't know what the words are. I was trying to mix all the words I just used together.
Yeah, it's a show about
yeah.
rejected MI5 agents who
Yes.
are like a part of a side team that
they're so low on the totem pole, people forget they exist, yet they keep getting caught up in all of these big things that are happening in England.
Did you really spoil anything?
Didn't spoil a single thing, I don't think. I might be spoiled the first 30 minutes of the first episode.
Sure.
That's about it. But everything else you pretty much find out in the first episode.
I think you can be very I think you can be vague about a recommendation without being
right.
hey, you should watch Breaking Bad. It's a show about a chemistry teacher. He has chemo, or he has cancer. He's going through chemo. He needs chemo. So the way that he pays for it is by dealing meth.
Right.
You could stop there,
right.
and you've only spoiled the first episode,
right.
which is fine, I think.
That's true.
If you then go on to say, yeah, and then he kind of gets mixed up and then he gets in too deep and he kind of thinks about ooh, I love the power of being a drug dealer. So maybe I should just be a drug dealer, that he kind of no longer becomes a chemistry teacher. He kind of just moves on from that. He pulls in one of his former students who I guess he thought had potential, but also he treats him like shit all the time. There's an episode about a fly that just goes around this this cook station that they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's all just that. And there's really not that much talking. And it's probably one of the best episodes of television if you're one person, but if you're another person, you probably hate it so much. And basically there's this guy, Giancarlo Esposito, his name's Gus Fring. He blows him up at one point. He blows him up big time at one point. His face fall off.
Blows him up big.
And then he's dealing chicken, and then they cook in the desert, and Hank is his brother-in-law, who's also a DEA agent, so you can imagine how that gets all mixed up. And it does, because Walter leaves a book on the bathroom, on the back of his toilet. But I won't spoil it, but Hank dies, but I won't spoil if Walter does.
All right, you do kind of have a point.
That's how some people... That was so chaotic.
I know.
And I would never.
No, that was how I've heard some people recommend a show to me.
Some people fucking do that shit, and I want to strangle them.
Yeah.
Because it's at this point, just fucking tell me the twist.
Yeah. I really do flip-flop. In some instances, I am not bothered by knowing a lot because I'll still decide if I want to read it or experience it or whatever, you know what I mean? I go both ways. In some hands, I love going...
Yeah, you do.
I love going in blind to certain stories and just experiencing it and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
But also a lot of the times, I have yet to read The Handmaid's Tale. I know a lot of what happens in The Handmaid's Tale.
Sure.
I still plan on probably reading it eventually, which that's not anyone's fault. If it's in the zeitgeist, you're going to hear about it. And I don't blame anyone for talking about it because the book's how fucking old and now the show's how fucking old.
But have we not completely lost the plot when it comes to recommendations? It's fine if you're in a cafe and two people are having the fucking conversation I just did about Breaking Bad.
No, I would turn around and punch them in the face.
It's your fault for not watched the show and deciding to sit there and listen.
Yes.
But if you are one friend and you are with another friend and the friend goes, let me just give you everything and then to also tell you to watch it.
Yeah, that's fair.
How about I punch you in the fucking face?
That's fair. I do think, because we talk about this, you and I talk about this with movie trailers. I do think movie trailers could show less. So in that regard, I do think I agree that certain books could give less.
If you think that, why? Oh, why? Do
I watch all of them?
Watch trailers?
Because I still am curious.
You make me mental when you do that shit. 30 seconds in, you should know. It honestly, 9 times out of 10, it probably has an actor that you know. Do you like that actor? And in the first 30 seconds of the trailer, did they do something that you think was interesting? Stop fucking watching the trailer.
I just... That's fair. That's fair.
Movie trailers are the absolute worst. How long is a movie?
2.5 hours.
How long's a trailer?
3 minutes.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes 4.
Yeah.
Sometimes 5 minutes. So you're telling me you just gave me, what's 2.5 hours? 180? Nope, 150. 3 hours is 180 minutes. So 150 minutes you've just given me in a 5-minute trailer. You've just given me 3% of the movie. And if you think you can't glean a majority of a movie off of that 3%, you are an idiot.
Sure.
Because all three of those, Oh, what? Do you think all 3% are from the first 25% of the movie? Fuck no. 1% is from the first third of the movie. The second percent is from the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
And the third percent is something that happens in the last 30 minutes of the movie.
They do give away too much. I agree.
I think you are crazy for waffling about this person.
I just think it depends. I think it depends on the
I
situation.
don't think it does.
I also
the only
don't
time
think-
the situation calls for it is if the person's like, I'm not going to watch it,
Sure.
or I'm not going to read it, or
Sure.
I'm not going to play it, or I'm not going to, I'm not going to interact with it. Go ahead, go crazy.
Yeah.
Because I get the desire to talk about it.
Right.
But what happened to doing book clubs and movie clubs? Let's just both decide we're going to read the same book together. And then we can talk about it at our
Yeah.
own pace.
Yeah.
What has happened to that? Instead, we all do everything individualistically and then have the audacity to ruin stuff for people while trying to champion the experience that we had.
Right.
Is that not insane?
A little bit, yeah. I also do think, though, that this isn't defending ruining it by any means, but this is actually just a tangent of what you just said. I'm realizing it has nothing to do with ruining it. I cannot stand you being like, so you said you're telling someone the plot.
Me or the royal you?
You just said
Oh.
the words. Like, you championing the experience you had, like trying to get someone else to also experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, you ruin the whole plot.
Mm-hmm.
Ignoring ruining the whole plot. Championing the experience you're having to try and get someone else to do it. I obviously love hearing recommendations, but there's literally nothing I can stand more than when someone's like, why haven't you experienced this yet? I told you about it. Why haven't you experienced it yet?
Oh, same. Because some people just give the worst recommendations.
It's not even that.
No, it is.
It's not even that. Like, it is, you told me about this a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know why I haven't watched it yet?
Mhm.
Why I haven't done it yet?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a week ago. I also don't care if it was 3 fucking years ago. If I didn't get around to it, I didn't get around to it. Like,
Also, maybe that just like says something.
sure. You can also like be into something and also have a priority list that doesn't prioritize that for whatever reason. Like, that doesn't mean you didn't like the recommendation or you won't like it whenever you get around to it.
100%.
I cannot stand that. Like, the need to like, I understand when something's super popular and you like want to be able to talk to your friend about, like when Game of Thrones was coming out, it was like kind of crazy to not be in the loop about Game of Thrones. Like, it really started to cut a line where you're like, I need to catch the fuck up, or I need to wait 8 years. Like, you were kind of in that in between when the show was coming out.
Yeah, or understand enough that it's just like,
Yeah.
if I can't catch up,
Right.
how can I interfere with the zeitgeist?
Right. You can't. You can't.
There's layers to it. I
Yeah.
think there's like respect and everything like that.
Yeah.
But like, we're on season 6 of the show. You haven't even started it yet. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about Jon Snow, fucking Daenerys Targaryen.
Exactly.
Also, their cousins.
Exactly. Like, I understand wanting the people around
What?
you to be where you are when something's popular
Yeah.
and everyone's talking about it, but you still, like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter if someone elected to not watch Game of Thrones the whole fucking time that it was popular. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get, like, in some ways, you're like, I hate the individualisticness of it, where it's like, I ran off and did this thing, and like, I know that's not what you were getting at, but like, I ran off and did this thing, and like, now I want to tell everyone about it. Because I do enjoy, there is a fun of doing things in a community and getting to talk about it, but also like, not everyone wants to do the same thing all the time.
And that is the flip side of it.
Right.
The flip side of it is that like, you should also be able to just experience things and not feel the need to rope other people into it.
Right. It's a balance. Like, there is so much media now, and we do all have our own devices which play said media. You don't have to just have like one TV in the household that's
Yep.
playing everything and everyone needs to agree about what's on it. Like, we all have, for the most part, our own way of intaking the information we want.
And sometimes I can be a bit of a snob. Sometimes I'll do the thing where it's just like, you haven't seen X.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, those are just things that like I hold like personally like in high regard.
Sure.
So like, I'll be like, oh, I'll reference The Departed. And I'll be
Yeah.
like, I love The Departed.
Yeah.
And somebody will be like, I haven't seen it. And then that same person will be like, I'm down to go see the Minecraft movie next week if you want. And I'm just like, I'll fucking strangle you. And it's like I'm trying to be better about not being like, you haven't seen it?
Yeah.
Because honestly, sometimes you can just read somebody and be like, you can have that reaction of like, wow, this person hasn't seen The Departed, and then immediately like clock yourself and go, that makes sense. I don't need them to see it.
Right.
Then there are other people where it's just like, I've watched 90 movies this year.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, nice. One of my favorite movies is The Departed.
Right.
And they go, I've never seen that. And you could be like, you haven't seen it?
Yeah.
You should watch it. I
You
think
should
you'd really
put
like
it on your list.
And then try and calm down
Yeah.
from the high that you just had of telling somebody to go watch The Departed. If you haven't seen it, great movie.
Anyway, last hot take, video game related. Hopefully you have some thoughts about this. JRPGs, power of friendship is so cool. Western games and Western RPGs never tackle themes of friendship. In games like Dragon Age or Baldur's Gate 3, most party members hate each other, and I don't like this at all.
Wait, did they say Dragon Quest?
They said Dragon Age.
Oh, okay.
Sorry if I said Dragon Quest.
No, I think you said Dragon Age, and I heard Dragon Quest, and I went, no, hang on a second.
Wait a minute.
That is absolutely a JRPG. Also, do they hate each other?
Sure.
It's interesting. I think it's just kind of the style, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's fine. I guess to their point, they're saying it would be nice if every once in a while a Western RPG decided to like
highlight those themes.
Oh, I saved your life because I have such a deep and passionate love for you that like it carried through the ether and imbued in your soul and you came back to life.
Yeah.
Because we're best friends and we're doing this adventure, you know.
Right.
I'm not even saying it in like a romantic way. And yeah, it would be cool if every once in a while they did that. I don't know about Dragon Age, but I'm willing to bet. A big thing about Baldur's Gate is that, and D&D as a whole, is that it kind of takes from real life in the sense that there are races.
Mm-hmm. And
some races are racist towards others. So, Lae'zel in Baldur's Gate is Githyanki.
Yeah.
She's like a lizard.
Yeah.
Basically, person. Born out of eggs and all of that. And like they're like treated like low on the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ugh. Stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
Lae'zel's gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's also really bitchy, and you're like, ooh, step on me. You know, all that stuff. But I think that's just kind of the buckets that they fall into.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's just what Western RPGs have decided to like tackle as a point of emphasis is like the struggle of like because everything's not always good.
Right.
And I think like the breath of fresh air is to go play a JRPG.
Yeah.
The problem is the two are different.
Right.
So most people will turn their nose up at a JRPG. And that's really it. Because I think anybody who plays a JRPG is probably totally down with RPGs. But I think a lot of people who play RPGs are like, oh no, a turn-based battle system? Kill me.
Someone did, I think, sort of iterating what you're saying. They were commented to this, and they said, I don't know about JRPGs, but the games you mentioned as not having friendships definitely do have developing / established friendships. It's just that a lot of Western RPGs like to start with distrust / conflict. So PC can decide how they want the relationships to go. So the playable character.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing with Western RPGs. It's a lot more about like you truly get to like
kind of build the relationships you want,
and there are a lot of branching paths and like a lot of like soft locks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas in JRPGs, I mean, think about the ones that we've played at least, like Chrono Trigger. How much sway did we truly have?
Like none.
Right? Like we had a little bit of freedom at the end to go do some stuff, but
a little bit. Yeah, I do think there's a little bit more of an emphasis on like whether you get options or not. I think there's more emphasis on the time it takes to build said relationships versus just like, oh, stranger I met in a town, join me, and you're like immediately BFFs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is a fair call out though, because like it does really like bring into light the fact that genres and like the influences within them kind of don't branch too far from the norm. And I
Yeah.
think some of the best gaming experiences that we get are the ones that do choose to finally like break from the norm
Yeah.
and do something that just does not fit in the normal like box tick of a JRPG
Yeah.
or an action adventure game.
Yeah.
Or, you know, The Last of Us Part 2 is kind of a great example of that. You take a beloved character in Joel from the first game, and very quickly you like break the norm of like, we're gonna ride Joel's dick for 4 fucking games, and instead you go, no, he's done.
Yeah.
On to Ellie.
Yeah.
Now it's to be seen whether or not they decide to ride Ellie for 4 games. You know, they could very easily like divert back to that. I don't think they will, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
look at like other Naughty Dog games, Uncharted, Nathan Drake, 4 Nathan Drake games, and then you go spin-off side game. It is a full game, but it's kind of a smaller experience. It's still an Uncharted game, no doubt, where you play as Chloe.
Yeah.
And it's potentially the sneaky best game in the series.
Yeah.
Like it's refreshing because it's different.
Yeah. Right.
It's still taking a character you know and love. It's still in the universe that you know and love, but it's different. It takes it deviates from the normal a little bit, and it's great.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, if you agree or disagree with any of those hot takes that we might have agreed or disagreed with, feel free to let us know. You can find both of our socials in the description. You can find SMSoup Podcast on all streaming services, including YouTube. And until next week, stay brothy.
You didn't want to give a hot take?
What? What hot take?
You didn't want to give one?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. You didn't have like a reading hot take locked and loaded?
What do you mean a reading hot take?
Like, did you want to give, as a person who reads, did you want to give a hot take about reading?
Oh, was that your hot take about video games?
No, I don't know if I did have a hot take about video games.
I don't know.
That's fine. You don't need to have one. I just didn't know if we wanted to do that. All right. Talk to you next week. Stay brothy.